On March 20th, 2019, families impacted by police homicide and police brutality survivors gathered at the Grant Sawyer Building to testify in opposition to SB 242. Proposed by Senator Nicole Cannizzaro, SB 242, if passed, will give Nevada police even more protections in use-of-force cases. For a state that hasn't convicted an on-duty police officer for killing a civilian in 30 years, the police already enjoy the privilege of immunity in excessive use-of-force cases. Approximately 200 people have died at the hands of Las Vegas Metropolitan Police since 1990. SB 242 would allow the redaction of officers' faces from video footage and officer statements in civil lawsuits. As police never seem to be held criminally liable in these cases, civil lawsuits, if successful, are one of the only avenues available for victims and survivors to receive any kind of compensation for recovery.
Unfortunately, I lost my son in the hands of a couple police officers. I do not support this legislation because it is giving them more rights to lie, to prepare them cases, to be untouchable. It was so many violations in my son's case. I was present at the moment of his murder. I saw how they twisted the truth. I saw how they violated his rights and my rights. I didn't get justice. Unfortunately, they didn't have, cameras on their bodies. I had a video from one of the neighbors. Unfortunately, the police went around checking to see who had videos of it, and they got the original image. I have a copy that I couldn't enlarge, but I have enough evidence to prove that my son didn't put them in danger, and it's what they disclose in the statement. I really beg you to put a stop on that. What they need is more transparency. They need to be more accountable. And if they did a mistake, they need to lose the job. They need to go to jail. That's the reason why I'm here. Thank you very much for the opportunity that you're giving me today to express that I miss this baby. I carry him for 9 months in my body, and I raised him for 23 years. Has been 7 years that I lost my baby, but to me it was yesterday. My life will never be the same. God bless you, and I hope you take a wonderful decision today.
Hi, my name is Nisa Sun. I'm a resident of Las Vegas. I'm here to represent the mother of Tashi Brown, Trinita Farmer. Here is a photo of Tashi Brown. As you guys are probably aware, Kenneth LaPera was indicted. He was the first officer to be indicted for a homicide in the last 30 years, but then the charges were dropped last fall. So again, I just wanted to remind you guys that there have been no indictments on officers who have killed civilians for the last 30 years. So there's very clearly an accountability and transparency issue. Another family I'm representing here today is the family of Junior Lopez. There were 2 eyewitnesses in this case. They were not interviewed thoroughly. One was interviewed for 7 minutes. The other was totally neglected and treated like a criminal. The department made a very blanket statement that Junior Lopez was carrying a gun and pointed it at the officers. The video was made available, but it's very, very blurry, and there's no way to see that there's a gun in his hand. In terms of transparency and accountability, there has been none, and there has been no justice for the last 30 years in Las Vegas and in Nevada. Thank you.
I am a resident of Henderson, Nevada. I am also a mother to 9 children. My husband was a homicide victim of LVMPD October 13th, 2016. I do understand that when you're looking at policy, procedure, and law, that it's important that the wording and the verbiage is completely clear and transparent. However, in what I've read at this point, I do not see what I would consider transparent. And what I do see is that this bill would infringe upon my family's rights. And as my family would be unable to view an officer who chose to kill my husband. I would not be able to see the footage that I did see. I would not have an understanding of activity. I would not be able to have any type of sight, and that's bothersome. If an officer was to be able to determine what his rights are, what's the point of the law? What's the point of equality in America? What's the point of to any of it? He is supposed to be a higher standard, not at a special privilege. And my experience, and since my husband's died, is officers are often given special privilege. My family has had to suffer through much. My children had to suffer through much. They're continuing to suffer. This is never going to end for them. They don't have rights the same as these officers. These officers have been given much more than my family. And I don't have rights, and I don't have help, because my husband's death was a justified homicide. So I don't have the same rights as if somebody murdered my husband off the street, simply because they've already got special privilege as officers. And I would just like on the record that I do not support it either. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson, for that testimony, and please accept our apologies for your losses.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm a lot more comfortable with the bill now than I was, but I still have one concern, and it would be in Section 2, and it says any statement a police officer is compelled to make pursuant to this chapter shall not be disclosed in a civil action. That isn't normal typically if you're just a normal person from the street and you make a statement, it would in fact be disclosed, wouldn't it? So I guess I'm a little nervous about why the preferential treatment for police officers there.
Thank you, Senator Gogichi. Nicole Canizaro, Senate District 6, and I have talked with both law enforcement down in Clark County, and one of the things that we did add to this and what this amendment does provide is that where that statement is inconsistent, so if the officer's testimony is not consistent with prior statements that he's made as part of the personnel investigation, that if the statement is inconsistent, then the judge can review it and release those portions of the inconsistent statement to the parties. So this would still allow for full cross-examination. It would still allow for, if an officer gives two different versions of a story, for that to be the subject of the civil case, but respects the confidentiality of certain personnel records. If the officer is not inconsistent, then it wouldn't be disclosed. And usually the purpose of disclosing a statement during the course of a civil action is to ensure proper cross-examination and vetting of witness reliability.
All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, not seeing any. That motion passes. Thank you. And Senator Canizaro, you'll take care of the floor statement. Thank you very much.